When the Newark Jazz Festival opens this week, it will welcome one of jazz's giants to center stage, pianist, composer, and combo leader McCoy Tyner. Tyner has just released a new CD on the Impulse label, the same label where he made history 30 years ago with the John Coltrane Quartet. Here's McCoy Tyner with the solo track titled Blue Stride. That was Blues Stride from McCoy Tyner's new CD called Infinity. It features saxophonist Michael Brecker, and it's on the Impulse label. Welcome, McCoy Tyner.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
The Impulse label represents some sort of a homecoming for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. John Coltrane and I were the first two artists to sign with the Impulse label back in the 60s.
And John Coltrane was in many ways your mentor and the guy that really first got you started.
Absolutely. He was an inspiration to me, very serious, very creative, and I think that the quartet really made its mark on the world.
Now, you were almost a kid when you started working with Coltrane.
That's right. I started playing when I was 13, and then about 15 I was working professionally around Philadelphia. That's my hometown. And I met John when I was 17, and that was the first time I actually played with him. Then at age 20, I joined the John Coltrane Quartet.
Anyone who has ever struggled with piano lessons, even at age 5 or 6, the idea of starting when you're 13 and then being a professional when you're 15 is unbelievable.
Yeah, I used to practice every day after school. I mean, I didn't have a piano for about a year. My mother bought me a piano when I was about 14. And she was a beautician, and I used to practice in her shop, and ladies would be getting their hair done and all that.
Well, people always talk about your 15-finger technique.
Wow, a lot of fingers.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's from practicing and playing. I've been playing a lot. I mean, over the years, I've been pretty consistent, working a lot and traveling all over the world. So it's really been a great experience for me.
Now, the piece that you played, the Blues Stride, is that kind of a nod to the stride pianists of the past?
That's right, absolutely, because I think it's definitely one of the foundations of modern jazz piano playing, and I wanted to emphasize that on this particular CD.
Well, there seems to be nowadays a real, I don't know if you would call it a split, but a real focus on traditional jazz forms. So many of the young guys are starting right at the very beginning with the basics.
Right, I'm happy to to see that, because that's very important. It's like reference material. You know, you have to go back and check the library and see what happened sometimes in order to go on in the future. So I'm glad to see this as serious as they are. You know.
You have worked with so many, practically all of the great jazz figures. Have you taken a little lesson from each one of them along the way?
Yeah, it's sort of a nonverbal kind of lesson. You know, working with people, I think, gives you information that a lot of times you can't get from a lecture or a classroom. You know, I think the classroom is a stage. You know what I mean? So. What
was the lesson of John Coltrane? If there were, I'm sure there were more than one, but
absolutely. Well, it was just great working with him, because he gave you enough room to develop, and that's something that you know, that's very, very important. You know, and he was such an inspiration himself, a hard-working person, practiced a lot, everything like that, and it was a great experience for me. You know, being with him and listening to him every night, and him allowing us to develop, and it's just something I can't say enough about. You know.
You've just returned, or recently returned, from a trip to West Africa, which you talked about as being very inspirational to you.
Right, I was in Senegal, and I actually played in a place called St. Louis. In English, St. Louis.
Did you find a lot of musical parallels?
Yeah, I did. Actually, there's some djembe drummers sat in with us. You know, traditional African drummers from Senegal. And it was very, very interesting, and a young saxophone player, you know, alto saxophone player from Senegal.
Was it recorded?
Oh, no, unfortunately it wasn't. But we were thinking about making a recording out of it, you know, because the French government had a lot to do with the festival, you know, so we thought maybe that might be a good idea, but it didn't. We couldn't pull it off. You know?
Well, will you play us one more song?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which will be?
Flying High.
Which is on your new CD?
On my new CD.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Well, it's been a real pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
The Newark Jazz Festival runs from November 10th through the 19th at various venues around Newark, and McCoy Tyner performs Sunday, November 12th. For tickets and information, call Ticketmaster at 201-507-8900. And here once again is McCoy Tyner with Flying High.